Hold it. You're not that pretty. I'm a bad man. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the Bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.
How y'all doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition on Split Decision. With me today is the trainer, the father, the CEO of Devin Haney Promotion, the one and only Bill Haney. Pleasure having you back on the show.
Hey, brother. How are you? Salam alaikum.
Alaikum assalam, Bill. Pleasure having you back on the show yet again. Obviously, Devin Haney is defending his WBC title against his tough mandatory Jojo Diaz on December 4th. So let's get straight to it. You know, Jojo Diaz said that he was going to dog Devin Haney out. Are you guys ready for that type of fight?
Alhamdulillah, bro. Thank you, you know what I mean, for having me on your show as always and giving me an opportunity on your platform to give the people the real. And, we're happy that we were able to get Jojo Diaz on December the 4th. You know, it took a little bit of twisting and coercing and, adding money and all these other things. But we're happy that we have a Jojo Diaz that's a former Olympian, former world champion, then been in there with the best of them, has also applied pressure, even from what I'm hearing, even in the gym, clearing out the gym. So he's a notorious guy in boxing that's been around, who's finally having an opportunity to be under the bright lights, along with Devin, who's an excellent opportunity for Devin, the WBC world champion, to have a formidable opponent, December 4th at the MGM Grand Garden Arena.
Out of all of the top lightweights, would you say is Devin Haney going up against the toughest opponent in Jojo out of the bunch?
You know what? What I want to say is that this is Devin's toughest task at hand. This is the toughest fight on paper. And, he's up for it. We have him on December the 4th, which is like, about a week and a half away, and we're not looking past him come December the 4th. He's a tough and rugged guy who's been in there with some of the best of them.
Jojo Diaz said that he gonna dog Devin Haney out. Devin Haney never been in a dog fight, and he dismissed the Linares fight. What's your take on his comments? Are you guys ready for that type of fight? What's your take on his comments that he gonna dog you guys?
Well, I sure hope that he brings that same energy on December the 4th, and it's going to make for an excellent night of boxing for the people. The month of December just keeps on giving and giving. We also know that previously, the week before that, right, this weekend is Kambosos and Teofimo Lopez, which I wish both of them well as well. And then you got, Javante Davis, who's fighting Pitbull Cruz the day after Devin. So, like I say, the month of December, it just keeps on giving and giving. It's going to be a great month of boxing for all the fight fans. And I expect Devin Haney and Jojo Diaz to be nothing but fireworks.
You said Devin Haney is the Golden Boy Killer. Can you elaborate on that?
Golden Boy Killer. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Well, when you talk about that, Golden Boy and their Golden Boy promoter, fighter, multi-division world champion, Oscar De La Hoya, who's carefully, strategically found Ryan Garcia, you know what I mean, has thrusted him in the limelight to be the fighter that he is. And, on several different times, they've declined to make the fight happen. Fortunately for Dev, and Golden Boy, we've reached agreements to fight Jorge Linares and now Jojo Diaz, right? Ultimately, like I say, is that putting one more Golden Boy champion down.
Would you say Jojo Diaz took this fight, or he was forced to take this fight?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we know that Devin and everyone in the world is known for quite some time that Devin is hunting for the best fight to happen. You know, we did a whole lot of encouraging Jojo to make the fight happen. And I think Devin as a promoter, being the youngest promoter in the game right now, right? Youngest successful promoter, meaning promoting and having a world champion that he must deal with, even with him dealing with himself. Putting himself on the chopping block to make the best fight happen is honorable. And Jojo Diaz was the best guy that was available. We made it happen. You know, so we think that we're doing the right thing for the people.
Teofimo Lopez recently said the other day that he's not going to fight Devin Haney next, and if he is forced to, then it won't be for all of the belts at 135. It's going to be at 140 pounds instead. What's your take on that?
Well, he's being forced to, right? Because no one told us that we had to drop the belt to make the fight happen with Teofimo Lopez. He's dropping the belts at 135, but we know that this is the fight that the people want. So it's the people's belt. We'll take the people's belt and beat Teofimo Lopez at 140 should he be successful with Kambosos and when we get past Jojo Diaz, right? It's nowhere for him to run. It's nowhere for him to hide. You know, you can't say that a Barbosa fight or is bigger than a Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez fight. He said it before. Now the network and the zone has expressed interest. Eddie Hearn has expressed interest. Devin Haney has expressed interest. Teofimo Lopez has expressed interest. So, you know, when we talk about the fighter telling the promoter what to do, the promoter works for the fighter. You've clearly heard that from Eddie on numerous different times that he works with Teofimo Lopez in this fight against Kambosos. He works for Devin in the fight against Jojo Diaz. He works for the fighter, and every other promoter does as well. So it's about Teofimo Lopez then saying, when he's finished with Kambosos, it's Devin Haney.
So let me make this clear. Devin Haney is willing to fight Teofimo Lopez even at 140 for no title.
Well, listen, let's let the people give the title. Let the people give the title and call it the baddest young motherfucker in the world. How about that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But wouldn't it make more sense, money-wise, legacy-wise, for it to happen at 135 for all of the titles? I mean, Tio want to be undisputed so bad, you know, he's faking undisputed up there with Canelo Alvarez. So if he want to be undisputed so bad, shouldn't he fight Devin Haney at 135? 135 is more money.
Listen,
so on and so forth.
Listen, put it this way. Pushing all the politics and everything to the side, there's no other fight for that young man. There's no other fight for Devin. The people that got behind it, it's got to happen. Excuse me one second. Keep talking, brother. I can hear
you. You and Eddie Hearn shook on it. You shook on it with Teofimo Lopez on camera. Does that shock you that he over here breaking his promises already?
Hey, listen. In this world, all a man has is his word and his balls.
So what does that mean about Teofimo Lopez?
I mean, we got to let the fans and let the people be the judge of that. At the end of the day, we know who really pays the bills. It's not the network. It's not the promoter. It's not the fighter. It's the fans. They pay the bills, man. You know what I mean? So you can't say, you know, you can't say F these fans or F those fans, right? I have respect for the ride or die fans that ride for Tio, right? That ride for Tank, that ride for Ryan, right? Those the ride or die fans. I respect those guys, man, and women alike. You can never say F him.
What's your take every time Teofimo Lopez is asked about Devin Haney from any reporter? You will automatically say you a D rider. You on Bill Haney payroll, so on and so forth. So my question to you is: Mike Tyson a D rider? Is he on Devin Haney payroll because he want to see the fight too? And he told him that to his face. So what's your take?
Listen, and I bet you won't say all that shit to Mike. I know him personally right now, and I guarantee you ain't gonna say F Mike. And Mike want to see the fight. Mike said that the fight should happen. You ain't gonna say F Mike. I guarantee you ain't gonna do that. Not in person or publicly.
He told Mike he will fight Devin Haney next. Well, obviously now he's doing otherwise, but you know, I want to
listen. Mike doesn't respect anything else, and one thing about Mike, he doesn't respect the fact that these fighters are hiding behind promoters. What he encouraged and what he's paved the way was for fighters to now reach out to each other. It's not hard for them to talk on the ground. They forever have each other's telephone number. You know what I'm saying? You just DM each other to make it happen.
Yes, sir. Now, Tio said to Mickey Bay, they had a conversation on Fight Hype, and he said that Devin Haney needs to petition to the WBC to order the fight, even though, according to the WBC rules, it clearly says the franchise belt holder is the one that can make the petition to fight the WBC champion. What's your thoughts on that? Him running with that talking point, even though it's completely false.
I mean, that's what it is. He's one more. It's one more reason to show why he's Super Cat Man himself, right? Is that it's in black and white. It's in black and white.
Let me read it, Bill. Let me read it to the public. For the people that don't know, the WBC website. This is what the WBC website says about the franchise title. Quote: A franchise boxer shall enjoy the highest preferential position to challenge for the world championship in his division at any given time upon his written request to the WBC, regardless of whether the current world champion has any mandatory obligations. End of the quote. What's your take on that?
It speaks for itself. It speaks for itself.
Do you think some reporters are protecting Tio when they tell you when they tell you guys to petition to fight Tio when the rules say otherwise?
No, because the one thing about the rules when they're saying is petition, the petition you petition to go against the rules, right? Because the rules state that you have a mandatory in Jojo Diaz. But if we could not reach an agreement with Jojo Diaz, then we could petition to fight someone else because Jojo Diaz is not willing to fight. So with an agreement, hold on, with an agreement with Teofimo Lopez, then we could petition to make Teofimo Lopez our mandatory next. With an agreement between Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney.
Right. But
let me tell you this though. Teofimo Lopez doesn't have to have agreement between Devin and Tio. He can become Devin Haney's mandatory and according to what you just read, and force Devin Haney to fight.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point that I'm pointing out. Do you think some reporters are protecting Tio because they tell you guys to petition to fight Tio when they should be telling Tio to petition to fight Devin because according to the rules, he's the one that has to send a request to the WBC as the franchise holder. What's your take on that? Like, do you know?
Absolutely. But once again, we're gonna continue to put pressure on him to make the fight happen. As soon as he handles his business with Kambosos, and when Devin handles his business with Diaz. The pressure ain't stopping. The pressure's not stopping at all.
Well, up to this point is a mountain full. Now, What was the Bob Arum meeting all about? Because that's what Tio kept going on about when you guys met face to face.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell Tio was talking about. And that's why I told him, fuck the meeting. You right here. You're fighting on the zone. It's Eddie right here. It's Devin. You don't want to go in one of these back rooms and talk and make the shit happen? Right? Eddie has been vocal. He's been vocal about including Bob, right? He's been vocal about including Bob or doing it himself with of course, Devin Haney Promotions, Takeover Promotions, Top Rank Promotions, and Matchroom Promotions.
So when who set up the meeting, so on and so forth, can you give us?
I set up the meeting. I know what I was setting up the meeting about. Bob has never reached out to me about anything.
Right, and can you? What was the meeting solely about Tio? Did it have anything?
It wasn't about Tio because Tio had the fight that he has right now, right?
Right, exactly, and that's what Bob Arum said. He said Teofimo Lopez wasn't available at the time, but obviously that's what Tio kept going on about. Now, what's your thoughts on Tio posing with Canelo Alvarez belts? Then Canelo stating that he's one of only 6 undisputed champions, not including Teofimo Lopez.
Well, it's a major accomplishment for the Latino community, and when I saw it for Canelo, I was happy. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy to be alive and to witness, what Canelo has done, right? And then Tio as well. Tio's not undisputed, but it's still a great accomplishment to the Honduran people and the Honduran community what he's accomplished thus far. So to get to see them on there and to celebrate for the Latino community, you know what I mean? I was happy to see it.
But he claiming he is undisputed, even though obviously the facts say he's not.
Well, Canelo already said different. Canelo said that Canelo was happy to be one of the 6, and when they took the picture, everyone automatically assumed, or it was assumed, that they were undisputed together and not just being world champions together. So I understood that it being a celebration on Canelo's part with Teofimo Lopez, and it not necessarily both being undisputed, but both being champions. And like I said, and I'm happy, and I celebrate that as well.
ESPN also came out and recognized Devin Haney as the real WBC champion. Have you seen that? And what's your take on that? Even ESPN, along with Showtime, DAZN, all the networks, all the sectioning bodies, BoxRec, and all the websites have Devin Haney as the WBC champion and Tio as unified. So if Tio does want to be undisputed, he does have to fight Devin Haney for undisputed if he want to be undisputed so bad. So what's your take on ESPN pointing out that Devin Haney is the real WBC champion and Teofimo is not undisputed?
Well, I'm not settling for that. ESPN can put up what they want to put up. Then Matchroom or DAZN or whatever, it has to be decided. It's not you know what I mean? Period. The fight needs to happen, and it needs to happen for everything at 135, in my personal opinion, right? But it's been so much bad blood and so much talk about it, and the network is interested in paying for it, that should it happen at 145 for the baddest young motherfucker in the world belt, then that can happen too.
Question from the fan. He said, I want to know if Devin Haney is on the new boxing game. Tio and Composers is on it. So what about Devin?
You said what?
They want to know if Devin Haney is on the new boxing game. Tio and Composers is on it. So they want to know if Devin Haney is on it.
Devin is on the new boxing life. That's what he's on. That's what he's on. What you guys are witnessing is to me, and like I said, in my opinion, if you want to hear me talk about it, then you can come on here and talk about it yourself, about your favorite fighter. But when you talk about Devin, the physical attributes that he possessed, he has arguably one of the best jabs in boxing, right? He has arguably some of the best footwork in boxing, arguably some of the best defense in boxing, right? And if we lacking on power and public opinion, well, we make up in the other areas and other departments. So I don't say that he can go in there, he's the best in the world, and he can fight against himself. I say that he's the best in the world, and he deserves to have the right dance partner, right? They keep saying that Devin is not worthy of being the next dance partner that they have, but I see that they're receiving a lot of public scrutiny when they're saying those things. So I think the rubber has met the road, and like I say, come December the 4th, you're gonna see a bad motherfucker in Devin Haney.
What's your prediction on Teofimo Lopez versus Cambosos? Who you picking and how and why?
You said, excuse me?
What's your prediction on the fight this weekend? Teofimo Lopez, he's going up against Cambosos. Who are you picking to win?
It was a fight that I wasn't as much as interested in as the fight gets closer, right? I get more interested in watching it, right? Of course, Teofimo was a big favorite in winning it with the layoff that has happened and the time that Cambosos could then had time to work on things and be mentally prepared. I think Teofimo Lopez has been through adversity before publicly. His last fight, he said he was going through some things, and he looked good. The time before that, he said the same thing. So these are one of these things that he says going on into his fight, right? He shows a lack of confidence, but then he makes up for it with skill. So I expect for Teofimo Lopez to win the fight. How he looks doing it, we'll see.
There's reports that Teofimo is claiming he's coming into this fight with an injury.
Yes.
Have you seen that?
Yes. And listen, and I'm glad he's starting to let the people know that he's mentally fucked up right now. You know what I'm saying? And he needs to, after this fight, maybe go have some alone time, walk through the woods, do some of that stuff that he's talking about, the Bruce Lee, the water, and you know what I mean, going this way, going that way, maybe go fishing. I don't know what he might need to do, but one thing about it is a week before the fight, you don't need to start talking, you know what I mean, about you not being ready, because you're going to be you can't get no more ready. You know what I'm saying? So talking about the negatives ain't going to help none when Cambosos is in there on your ass. You got to, you're going to have to do what you do best, take over.
There's rumors that Teofimo Lopez may purposefully miss the weight in order to relinquish all of his titles so he could find a way out of the Devin Haney fight. What's your thoughts on the rumors?
Well, listen, I don't concentrate on rumors, right? I've heard stuff like that, but you've also heard how I feel. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You've also heard how I feel about it. Should he do it? And, if my daughter was an earshot away right here, you know what I mean, I could probably let you know how I feel. Rated R style. Stop a lot.
That's right. What's your response to Gervonta Davis stating it's a cap? Devin Haney didn't want to fight me on a few weeks notice, like 2 weeks or something.
Well, the thing about it is, it wasn't 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Did you give Pitbull Cruz 2 weeks notice? And if Pitbull Cruz was getting ready for a fight, he was getting ready for a fight. And Dev was getting ready for a fight. And Dev is getting ready for a southpaw and Jojo Diaz, with the fight happening 1 day apart. Then it would seem that in this rare time, all the stars are lining up to make something like that happen. And I don't want to take away from anybody, and I don't want to take away from our ability to have a longer amount of marketing time to make the fight even bigger. But when you talk about the stars lining up and Gervonta Davis not having an opponent falling out because Mayweather Promotions and the PBC have an excellent team. So the Rolly Romero fight falling out is probably a once in a lifetime situation that'll happen, right? But even you see a great team like the Mayweather Promotions had a contingency plan. They had a Pitbull Cruz fighting on the undercard. So with Devin fighting one day before and already training, just the stars lining up and the possibility of that thing happening was very real on our part. It was just a matter of then the Gervonta's team and Gervonta to see the merit in fighting Devin, right? And no argument towards them and what they're doing, or no none of that shit, or that they had to include Dev, or no none of that. But when you talk about putting on an event and us being a part of an event with them and all the legend and all the stuff that Floyd and Leonard has brought to the game, I mean, we'd step in a heartbeat, man.
Obviously, Devin Haney did land the Jojo Diaz fight. We thankful of that. That's a big fight. So what statement is Devin Haney looking to make come December 4th against Jojo Diaz?
You know, one more step in the showing that Devin is one of the most skilled fighters in the world. We're going to put a hellacious ass whooping on Jojo Diaz, an ass whooping that he has never experienced ever before, right? We're going to beat him like nobody else has. The great Gary Russell, who's his only loss comes from, who put an impressive performance against him. But Jojo is a different fighter now. He's a stronger, more experienced fighter now at 135. And I think that it's going to just make for an excellent night of fireworks.
He did beat the likes of Tevin Farmer and Fortuna, two tough opponents.
Two tough, rugged opponents. And Javier Fortuna, former world champion, relentless. Jojo, also Tevin Farmer, great friend of ours, somebody we consider family. You know, he beat him. And Tevin is a bad boy, boxer. You know what I mean? Right out of that Philadelphia, with all those physical attributes that he brings with footwork and speed and all that. He was neutralized and beaten by Jojo Diaz. So we don't take Jojo Diaz lightly by any stretch of the imagination. We know that if Golden Boy is putting them in, he's putting them in, and they're believing that Jojo has a chance to win. You know, so it's just one more step towards greatness, and we look forward to the opportunity December the 4th.
And I want to leave you with this question. Devin Haney came out and said yesterday that this is what Devin Haney said. He said he regret sparring Teofimo Lopez because he believes if he never sparred Teo, he probably could have landed the fight by now. But because he sparred Teo, it kind of ruined the possibility of him fighting him because of the fact that Teo knows what Devin Haney is all about. He knows how good Devin Haney is. Do you regret setting up that sparring?
It's the yin and the yang. You know, it worked at that particular time. You know what I mean? Going into whatever fight that it was good for Teofimo to spar Dev, and it was good for Devin to spar Teofimo. We used that and what we did as fuel to go forward. So looking back in hindsight, I don't see anything that we would do anything different. It just falls on. It's just up to the Lopez's now, you know, to stop capping. Really, just stop capping. The rubber has met the road. You know, it's time to make this shit happen. You know, I wish them nothing but the best on this weekend, on Saturday against Kambosos. I hope that Teofimo overcomes whatever adversity that he's describing, becomes successful with Kambosos. No shot towards Kambosos. I hope that he's healthy as well. You know what I mean? And he does his thing. Unfortunately for me, with Kambosos, he's a great guy and their family and all that. But I got to pull for Teofimo Lopez because, you know what I mean, the amount of tension, the amount of money that's on the table and everything like that. Outside of that, I wish Kambosos and his team nothing but the best.
And last but not least, what's your last thing you want to tell the fans that's tuning in? And what can they expect?
No, I wish and encourage them to come out to Las Vegas for a great weekend, a great night of boxing, December the 4th at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. You got Devin Haney, Bay Area, hometown hero, adopted by the great city of Las Vegas as well. You know what I mean? It's going to put on an excellent performance. So we look forward to everybody coming out and having a great time. And listen, and all my family and friends and supporters, if you're having a hard time getting up, DM me. You need some tickets, DM me. You know what I mean? It's all love.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're appreciate you, Bill Haney. Pleasure having you on Split Decision like always.
Always, King. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullah wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. That's the one and only Bill Trill Haney. So tune in December 4th, Devin Haney versus Jojo Diaz. Is going to be a great fight. I truly believe Jojo Diaz will bring the best out of Devin Haney. Jojo Diaz is a tough fighter. You guys heard it. He fought the likes of Gary Russell, beat the likes of Tevin Farmer, Fortuna. These are tough fights. I mean, Tevin Farmer, he was like one of the slickest fighters in boxing. Fortuna, one of the hardest punchers. And Jojo Diaz beat both of them very comfortably while facing adversity, like receiving cuts and stuff like that. So this is going to be a good fight. Devin Haney, he's going up against the toughest opponent on paper, from Composers, Pitbull Cruz, and all the lightweights from Tank and Teofimo Lopez. Devin Haney is going up against the toughest challenge. So we shall see how he handles, Jojo Diaz. With that being said, we're going to discuss Teofimo Lopez versus Composers. We're also going to discuss Terrence Crawford, amazing victory against Sean Porter, where this man pretty much transformed to a Super Saiyan when he heard he was losing and went out there to finish Sean Porter. So that being said, tune in, go ahead and call in. The number is in the description box below to give y'all a take on Teofimo Lopez. I don't know what to call it. I mean, is it capping season? We thought it was the takeover. It turned out to be the fake over. It's like it's faking his season. I don't understand. I mean, he shook on fighting Devin Haney along with Eddie Hearn and Bill Haney. They both shook Teofimo Lopez's hand to fight next. And you see him the other day claiming that he's not going to fight Devin Haney next. He's going to vacate all the titles and move up to 140 to fight Josh Taylor. So we shall see, because Josh Taylor is saying you need to fight Devin Haney. Josh Taylor has a fight coming up. He has an injury. I think right now he currently has an injury, and he has a fight coming up with his mandatory anyway. So he is not available for Teofimo Lopez to fight. So why not make more money by fighting Devin Haney? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Devin Haney versus Teofimo Lopez for Undisputed at 135 is a bigger money fight than Teofimo Lopez versus Josh Taylor anyway. Nevertheless, call in to give y'all a take. I'm gonna go ahead and let you guys call in. I'm gonna pick up the phone calls one by one. So the number is in the description box below. Give me 5 minutes. I will be back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. So go ahead and call in to hold your position. I'm gonna pick up the phone calls right now. So, like I said before, there are rumors that Teofimo Lopez is planning to miss weight on purpose in order to relinquish his titles in order to avoid the Devin Haney fight next. However, that will be, you know, useless at this point in time because obviously, like Bill Haney revealed, they willing to fight Teofimo Lopez anywhere at 140, at 147. It don't matter because this fight is for the people. They want to make this fight happen for the people. It's all about the best versus the best, and Devin Haney wants to deliver these fights. So we shall see if Teofimo Lopez will keep his promise. How you doing, Aki? Who this is and where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Aki? It's Kieran from Albany, New York.
Oh man, my man, what's going on with you? So, let's start off with this. There's a lot to talk about. I want to get your take on the Crawford fight too, but uh, let's just discuss this real quick. Teofimo Lopez, obviously, I don't know what's going on. I mean, is it the fake over season? Does the fake over season continue? The fake it season of Teofimo Lopez because he shook Bill Haney hand on camera. He shook Eddie Hearn hand on camera that he's gonna fight Devin Haney next for undisputed. All of a sudden, the other day, he said he no longer doing that. Devin Haney this, Devin Haney that. He trying to use and continue using these talking points that Devin Haney ain't fought nobody. But Devin Haney already fought Linares. He's fighting Jojo Diaz. He's fighting a tougher opponent than all of the lightweights in the world, from Javante, Teofimo Lopez, so on and so forth. So what's your take on Teofimo Lopez retracting his promises that, he shook with Eddie Hearn and Bill Haney? Like I said, man to man, mano to mano to fight Devin Haney next.
I think honestly, it's just pussy behavior from Teo because it's like like if you call yourself undisputed, then you should be taking on all challenges, regardless of like what the outcome should be. And I think Teofimo, he's I want to say that the fame has got to him too much, and he's using Lomachenko victory as like a means to say, well, I beat the best guy out there, and you guys didn't. So therefore, I'm like the number one guy in this entire division. So therefore, you have to bow down to me, and I don't need to prove myself anymore. Knowing that,
well, he should
you've been out the ring for almost like.
Yeah, well, he should go ahead and retire.
Pretty
if that's
much.
the case, if he feel like he don't have to accomplish anything and doesn't have to prove himself, he may as well retire because we already know Lomachenko gave up his belt to duck Devin Haney fight. That's how Devin Haney ended up with the belt anyway, right? So we know Loma was one of the best, and I gave him all the credit in the world. However, you have to continue beating other fighters because he's only 23, 24 years old. His career is just starting. So why he's pretending as if he's an old man that's finna retire already? Devin Haney is one of the fabulous four of his time. Like this is his Hearn, his Hagler when it came to Sugar Ray, right? So Teofimo Lopez obviously claims that Devin Haney is a nobody. He gonna knock him out, this and that and the third. He claims he want to be undisputed so bad. So why don't you fight Devin Haney for your biggest payday to become undisputed? I don't get it. But obviously, what Teofimo knows that the whole public know, Devin Haney is the boogeyman for a reason. And there's a great probability that Devin Haney will beat Teofimo Lopez. That's why he doesn't want to fight him next. Because, from what I heard, what happened in sparring, like Devin Haney washed him. It wasn't even close. And Teofimo Lopez knows that in the back of his mind. So, he's not going to let his pride talk him somewhere that he's not, going to prevail. He's not willing to go somewhere he's not willing to prevail. He's not letting his emotion get the best of him. So I don't know, man. Like it looked like Teofimo Lopez is losing a lot of respect out there. And like I said before, your word is your bond.
Yeah.
Well,
and I don't disagree because, like,
yeah.
Sorry, what?
No, continue. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. I just wanted to finalize like my point to say like I don't disagree because Teofimo at this point has made himself look more of a fraud, and I think with the longer he keeps up doing that, he's not going to be recognized as a legitimate fighter, and I think he's pretty much decreasing his popularity stock as a notable name in the sport. So if he continues to do that, I think he's going to get knocked off very soon.
He already lost his buzz. Like, let's all be honest. That Lomachenko buzz is out of the window. He blew it. He blew it because he didn't capitalize on it. He faked it too much. Like I said, the worst weapon in the world is a microphone and a camera. And Teofimo Lopez kept stabbing himself in the back every time he did an interview because he will contradict himself every other breath. Like the other day, I was trying to report the news on Teofimo Lopez stating that he's not going to fight Devin Haney next for Undisputed. He's going to vacate all the titles. So, like always, I'm about to put my clips together, then do the audio. But I didn't even get a chance to do the audio because while I'm doing the clips of him contradicting himself, I'm using like 20% of the clips I have, like of all Teofimo Lopez contradictions. And the video is already 10 minutes. Mind you, I have like 5 times as many clips as I used of Teofimo Lopez contradictions. Nothing but contradictions. Every other breath, one breath he says he's going to fight Devin Haney next. The next breath he say, I ain't fighting Devin Haney next. He ain't fought nobody, this and that and the third. But we know he beat Linares Jojo. One minute he'll say, I'm sending Devin Haney a contract. The next minute he will say, they never sent me a contract. I mean, it's like it's full of contradictions. So I didn't even really have to use the mic. I let Teofimo Lopez hang himself because he hanged himself with his own hand. He destroying his reputation with his own hand, and he can't be mad at nobody but himself because he's doing this to himself. So that being said, even Teofimo Lopez deep inside, Teofimo Lopez is showing that he don't have no cojones to fight Devin Haney. He don't have the courage, the pride, nor the cojones to fight Devin Haney next. He missing that substance called cojones, wanting to be the best and proving that you are the best. You see Devin Haney challenging him for Undisputed, and Teofimo Lopez is claiming something he's not. He's trying to take credit away from Terrence Crawford. He said he paved the way. He set the trend. Hello? Is anybody home? Last time I checked, it was Terrence Crawford who became Undisputed first for like, he broke like I think it was like 12, 13 years from 2005 to 2017. No one became Undisputed, but Terrence Crawford did it. So when Terrence Crawford became Undisputed, he set the trend. Then Usyk became Undisputed. Then Josh Taylor, Jamel Charlo, and Castano tried to do it as well. So if Teofimo Lopez wants to join, and obviously Canelo Alvarez, so if Teofimo Lopez wants to join that list of the fighters that became Undisputed, then guess what you got to do? You have to fight Devin Haney in order to achieve that. But Teofimo Lopez want to tell the public that he set the trend of everyone wanting to be Undisputed, even though he is not Undisputed. So what are you even talking about? Like I said, he telling Josh Taylor, you ducking me because you want to fight Crawford, the pound for pound #1 who just knocked out Sean Porter. It makes no sense at all. Like I said before, Teo is so delusional. Sometimes, man, he got to look at himself in the mirror and hear himself out, because how can you claim, how can you make a delusional statement that you set the trend of all of these fighters from Canelo, Josh Taylor, Jamel wanted to be Undisputed, even though you're not Undisputed? How you set the trend, but you're not Undisputed? That makes no sense at all. And you avoiding Devin Haney to become Undisputed. So, like I said before, Teofimo Lopez is hanging himself with his own hand. But what was your thoughts on Terrence Crawford performance against Sean Porter? Were you impressed? him knocking out Sean Porter in the 10th round. Obviously, Terrence Crawford, he was told that he was losing the fight. I didn't have him losing the fight, but they told him on the unofficial scorecard, you was losing the fight. So he got up, transformed to a Super Saiyan, and finished Sean Porter. How impressive was that? Because I know you don't be believing in Crawford. So did he impress you with that performance?
I mean, it was a good victory, but like part of me kind of felt like from that second knockdown, like I thought Sean was able to continue, and I kind of felt like Kenny he should have let Sean go out on his shield, knowing that it was his last fight. But I thought it was a good performance. I mean, Crawford, he was getting touched up here and there by the middle rounds, but I thought he did a great job timing Porter, and he gave Porter a very difficult fight. And I thought Crawford, he had a little bit of struggle with Porter's pressure, but Crawford, he figured him out, and he did awesome. Like, he really shocked me because he, like, correct me, he is the first person to knock down Sean Porter twice, so that takes a lot of skill and a lot of timing to actually get that down. But I just kind of felt like that fight was either going to go to a split decision or a unanimous decision if Crawford was not going to get that knockout over Porter. So I definitely give him a lot of credibility for that victory.
What's my man name? BF. Can you repeat the my man name? What's his name? Hold on. Let me look it up. BFTB. Yeah, BFTB. That's my man. I reached out to him, and we're gonna do a joint show one day. But I talked to him, and he told me this is what BFTB told me, and obviously BFTB. I reached out to him because you want me to debate him. I didn't know. I had got him mixed up with someone else that I really wanted to get at, but it turned out to be a whole different other channel, right? So when I reached out to him, I asked him, "What's your prediction? What do you think? Who you think gonna win?" Because he was too busy that week to come to join me on the show. So I asked him, "Who you think gonna win?" And he obviously was picking Porter to win if the same Sean Porter comes that fought Errol Spence. But he made this statement, and I want you to give me your take on it. He said, "If Terrence Crawford stops Sean Porter, that will be the most impressive performance in the last 20 years. This is the statement he made. What's your take on that?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree because past couple of days, or I probably say ever since he did his post fight reaction live stream on the Porter fight, he was giving Bud all the credibility because Terrence Crawford was the first man to stop Sean Porter. But I don't disagree with that. BFTB's always consistent on his takes, but that was very shocking because it was just like
right.
Sorry, what?
No, I'm sorry. Continue. You said that was very shocking because of what?
It was very shocking that Crawford stopped Porter because Crawford has never stopped Sean Porter leading up to now. So, having that victory solidifies Crawford's career legacy for the welterweight division.
Yeah, it sure does. And like I said, from the names I could recall, Sean Porter has the deepest resume in boxing right now, from Alexander, Berto, Adrian Broner, Kell Brook, Danny Garcia, Ugas, Keith Thurman, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. These all name opponents. And the list goes on and on and on. And none of these fighters came even close to stopping him. He beat majority of these fighters, and even when he lost, it was a classic fight, a war that could have went either way. And for Terrence Crawford to knock him out, that's highly impressive. That shows and proves how good Terrence Crawford is. But let me go ahead and get to the other callers. And great talking with you.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you very much, and happy Thanksgiving.
All right, thank you too. Happy Thanksgiving to you and everyone that's tuning in. Go ahead and click on that like button and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. How you doing, Aki? Who this is, and where
Hello.
you calling from?
What's up, man? It's Ace from GOD TV, GOD Boxing. I'm from San Francisco.
Yes, sir. So give me your take on Teofimo Lopez shaking Bill and Eddie Hearn hand, claiming he's gonna fight them next, and then coming out the other day saying that he no longer interested in fighting Devin Haney and he not gonna fight him next. He gonna go after Josh Taylor.
Honestly, I think we all saw that coming a mile away. You know, he got a history of doing that. So, you know, I definitely seen that coming. I knew he wasn't gonna take the fight. And you can just tell he wasn't genuine when they was having the argument.
That's right. Like I seen it coming. You know, I try to be optimistic as much as possible, but it's clear, that he don't want the smoke from with Devin Haney from day one, and the whole world sees it at this moment in time. But Terrence Crawford, he responded to Keith Thurman stating that he willing to fight him next, or not next, but he want to fight him, just not next. He want to fight him next year in October or something crazy like that, like 10 months from now or a year from now, right? He needs a tune up. Then he want to fight Terrence Crawford, right? So,
Yeah.
I really want to see that fight. I want to see Crawford versus Thurman. I want to see Thurman versus Errol Spence as well. But my whole thing is, what was Keith Thurman waiting on? I mean, he knew the top welterweights. He knew
the same way.
Yeah, everybody at the welterweight division is a top tier level fighter. This is one of the deepest, if not the deepest, division in boxing. So why haven't you yet gotten a tune-up fight? I mean, he was supposed to fight Ugas instead of Pacquiao at one point. So why not get a tune-up fight in case one of these big names willing to fight you, right? I mean, from Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, and a lot of people were gunning for him anyway. It ain't like he had trouble finding a big fight. He really wanted Errol, but Errol Spence told him tables turn, and he brushed him off. But the point I'm making is that, what were you waiting for? You had 2.5 years to get a tune-up and get plenty of tune-ups, not just 1, 2, 3, 4. So what's your take on one time stating that he want to fight Crawford, just not next, a year from now or 8 months, whatever the time span may be?
I don't even think he should mention Crawford if he's not ready to fight him next. I don't think he should mention Spence if he's not ready to fight him right then and there. I think he should mention those names after the tune-up fight and after he's actually ready and prepared to fight those guys. And we all know it's going to be great fights, no matter who he fights,
Right. And that's what Terrence Crawford said. He said, why we gotta wait? You don't believe in yourself? I mean, if you want to fight, like why you say I want to fight, but then I gotta wait?
Exactly. And I felt the same way too. I'm like, 8 months, that's a long time to be waiting for another fight, especially a Keith Thurman and Crawford fight that could be easily promoted, easily made. I don't understand why he would want to wait so long. And it seemed like every time you see Keith, he in the gym, he working on stuff. You don't never just see him lounging around or not doing anything. He's always working. So
yeah, I mean, obviously, of course, I'm pretty sure he wants to tune a fight because he's coming off a huge layoff and a loss to Manny Pacquiao. But my whole thing is, you should have had that tune-up, because he didn't ask for a tune-up when Gervonta Davis was. Yeah, when I think it was Leonard Ellaby, when Leonard Ellaby was trying to match them two guys together, he never came out and said that, Gervonta, I need a tune-up first. He was treating Gervonta like a tune-up. Now we know Gervonta is not a welterweight, so maybe that could be the reason why he was willing to fight Gervonta right away. But when it comes to Terrence Crawford, like I said before, Was he waiting on a motivational speech for him to get up and start training and get a fight? I don't understand. Like I said, I want to see the fight. I want to see Keith Thurman against Errol and Crawford, because he, like, the buildup is going to be so crazy. But
You know one thing I love about your channel. Oh, hello.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, sorry. I was saying, one thing I love about your channel. You always point out all the facts on how people, like, it seemed like 1 minute they had, like, cheer for Crawford, and then they come up with some excuse not to give him credit on something. And I love how you show video for video how these people done turned down fights from him. They done, they try to say 60-40 when it's unnecessary, like a whole bunch of excuses, everything but let's fight. And Devin Haney voice. You know what I mean? And I like that you show them facts, no matter what the narrative is.
Yeah, because the truth is universal. I mean, it ain't hard to see the truth. It ain't hard to tell who really wants to fight. At the end of the day, or at least the night, new media narrative is the whole absolute truth. And AKHi always put it together like puzzle, because when you speak the truth and you consistent with it, you're always going to be proven right in the long run, because the truth is undefeated, right? I mean, with Terrence Crawford, you have to give credit where credit is due. What we push for here is on new media is the best versus the best. We always push for the best fights, so the fans could, watch the best fights and the sport could grow at the same time. And I love Errol Spence, one of my favorite fighters. In fact, when Terrence Crawford first moved up to 147, I favored Errol Spence to beat Terrence Crawford. I thought Terrence may be a little bit too small, right? I knew it was a 50-50 fight, but I favored Errol Spence, and that's my guy. Errol, my guy. But like I said, Terrence off the jump, he shocked me. He moved up a weight, and off the bat, he want to fight Errol. Man, Errol was the boogeyman. Nobody wanted any smoke with him. Keith talking about, oh, my injury this, my injury that. Errol telling him, man, listen, at the end of the day, I want this fight as bad as I want to breathe. They told me get a title. I got a title. So what's up? But then the same way Keith Thurman treated Errol Spence, that's how Errol Spence treated Terrence Crawford. And I was just like, come on, like Errol, I was disappointed because I'm like, Errol is so upset at Keith Thurman not giving him a shot on the come up. But he did the same thing to Terrence Crawford that Keith Thurman did to him. What I mean by that is, as soon as Terrence Crawford moved up to the division, he told him, go get a belt. Terrence Crawford went and got a belt. Then he told him, and mind you, this is before Errol even got the Sean Porter fight. He said, leading up to the Mikey Garcia fight, why should I fight you after Mikey Garcia? Why wouldn't I go after Sean Porter and knock him out? That's the easier fight. And Crawford said, you a smart man. You a smart man. So the point I'm making is, it's okay. Look, at the end of the day, I get it. If Errol Spence wanted to go the easier route and build up to the biggest fight, it makes sense. But as long you're willing to do it at the end of the day, or at least the night. But then before you even negotiate, I'm talking about a year ahead, you telling him take a 60-40 split, take a 70-30, 80-20. It seems like he was just trying to push Terrence Crawford away from him. And I'm just pointing out the obvious, that Terrence wants all the smoke with Keith Thurman and Errol, and you name it, because Terrence called out these guys right away. He wanted no tune-up. Meanwhile, Keith wanted to welcome Danny Garcia to the welterweight division, but as soon as Terrence Crawford knocked on his door, he said, you got to get a belt. You got to fight somebody. You ain't proven. You got to prove yourself. So the energy changed, and that's the points and the facts I pointed out. At the end of the day, I don't talk emotionally. I don't talk with my opinion. I talk factually. I just state the facts. And people want to get mad, but at the end of the day, it's not up for debate. It's not up for debate. These all are factual information.
Yeah. And I believe T.O. just trying to take the Canelo route. He looking up to his older guy in the game. I think he's trying to take the Canelo route and vacate the belt, because Canelo is making these fighters feel like it's okay to do that type of stuff. You know what I mean? And I believe that it ain't okay. You know what I mean? But their fan base allows that type of stuff, and as long as their fan base keep allowing that type of stuff, I think boxing gonna be messed up. Because unfortunately, they got a huge fan base in boxing. You know what I mean?
But at the end of the day, in order for the
And
sport to grow, we have to see the best versus the best. That's why the UFC keeps getting popping and popping and
you're
more popping.
absolutely right.
And boxing, we over here like dying to get a good fight, you know. But listen, at the end of the day,
Yeah,
Teofimo Lopez is not in Canelo position, meaning Teofimo,
not at all.
he thinks he is, but he's not. What I mean, Canelo had the Floyd Mayweather fight.
We know who he's dealing with.
Yeah, like for
Yeah,
example, Canelo, he had the Floyd Mayweather fight that basically made him a superstar. Canelo Alvarez is known for losing to Floyd Mayweather. That's what everybody knows. That's what the whole world knows about Canelo, is for losing to Floyd Mayweather,
not exactly.
getting smashed on, right? So, but that did give him the boost, the popularity, and he started picking his fights, and now he got into a position where he's very popular, one of the most popular fighters in boxing, and at the same time, he's one of the best. Now he the pound for pound king of all time when it comes to cherry picking. He the number one pound for pound. Ain't no doubt about that. But the point I'm making is he's in the position to be able to do that. Teofimo is not even in a position to do that. He can't even sell tickets. He can't even sell 2,000 tickets.
Yeah, Tio thought he was going to outsell Mayweather, so we know this guy is delusional.
Yeah, we're talking about he the A
He
side.
thought he was going to.
Yeah, and that's the problem
So
with Tio.
when I say he's trying to follow behind Canelo, I'm not trying to say like it's a thing he should be doing. I'm saying like he's so delusional that these are the type of decisions that I can already foresee him making. You know what I mean? I see it ahead of time. He feel like, oh, Canelo is doing. He already thinks he's undisputed and he's not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
So
what I'm
I don't
saying,
really expect him to make any.
right. What I'm saying to you, I don't think it's gonna work. See, Canelo, what he's doing, it works for a couple years, and eventually it's gonna flop because the pressure is gonna pile up on him when people see him fighting Maccabi, Huna Matata, and Avini Yildirim, Rocky Fielding, instead of fighting the fights that the public want to see with Charlo, Benavidez, Andre, so on
Like
and so forth.
Benavidez.
Yeah, so the pressure will pile up on him eventually. But with Tio, he's not even in that position. He's not going to be able to get away with it. You're right. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to copy the Canelo Alvarez duck print. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to follow the Canelo duck print, but it's not going to work because he can't even sell 2,000 tickets right now. He thought the Lomachenko win was going to do it for him, but Loma was never a star. Loma was never a star. He was media.
Loma's not known like that.
Old media hyped him up. They were hyping him up. They were erasing his losses. He was never that guy. He was very skillful, one of the best in the world, but he was never that guy they were hyping him out to be, right? So that's why
only boxing fans know Loma.
Exactly. And like I said before, with Tio, he's not in that position to copy and paste the Canelo Alvarez duck print. That's why it's not working for him. And to make matter worse, that camera and a microphone are like a kryptonite to Tio because he loves talking, but he can't stop contradicting himself every other breath. Because once you tell a lie, you got to continue lying to cover up your previous lies. But the more you lie, it's harder. It gets harder and harder to cover up the previous lies, right? But when you tell the truth, you don't gotta worry about it. Like when you see Devin Haney do interviews, he's chilling. Why? Because at the end of the day, he's telling the truth. He wants to fight. He says they say everything and anything but let's fight. You see Tio, I'm gonna fight him. No, I'm not. I want to catch weight with Josh. No, I don't. I'm gonna send Devin Haney a contract. Never mind. He ain't fought nobody. He an email champion, even though it was Tio who emailed the WBC to receive the franchise title. He the email champion. You know what I'm saying? Like if we all being truthful, Teofimo Lopez is the email champion because he petitioning not to fight. Devin Haney petitions to fight, and that's why he has Lomachenko WBC belt because Lomachenko vacated the title because he wanted no smoke with this young man. Loma was claiming my
Yeah,
dream fight is Floyd Mayweather, but you avoided the second coming of Floyd with the shoulder roll and all that. You know, it makes no sense at all. It makes no sense at all. And just to let you know, Vasily Lomachenko turned down 2 offers to fight Devin Haney, and both of them offers he would stand to make more money than when he did against Teofimo Lopez. Just to show you, that was a clear duck, and Teofimo Lopez knows that just as much as Lomachenko. That's why Lomachenko came out and said Devin Haney is the real WBC champion. ESPN did the same. They announced Devin Haney as the WBC champion, and Teo is unified, not undisputed. So did the Zone, Showtime, Canelo. I mean, Teo want to get mad at Showtime. How about you get mad at Canelo? Because Canelo, he said he's one of only 6 undisputed champions. So why don't you get mad at Canelo? Why don't you call Canelo all type of names? You see, Josh Taylor called Teofimo Lopez disputed champion, an embarrassment, and a fraud. That's what Josh Taylor called him. He called him a rat, so on and so forth. So I'm just letting you know that's how a lot of fighters feel. Even Errol Spence came out and said, y'all got to stop capping with them cap-ass belts. I mean, this cap season got to stop, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I think that it just makes the sport look bad. You know, it don't make the sport look good. And, you know, I think that anybody with eyes can see that Devin Haney is like one of the biggest threats in the division. You know what I mean? Of course, I think that he will outbox Teofimo. The power doesn't even really mean too much to me either, because he went through Linares, who's more experienced than Teofimo. And, you know, he's powerful. And I think that they discredited Linares all of a sudden just because Devin Haney beat him as easily as he did. And I feel like even him being buzzed just gives him more experience than a lot of the other lightweights who ain't been in no, adversity yet.
Yep, I agree.
I haven't seen Teo hurt yet, but I have seen him backing up from Lomachenko like them punches was hurting. So, you know, it ain't no telling what can happen in the future.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, experience is priceless, and sometimes, like you said, with Devin Haney, I mean, even though he got rocked against Linares, no one ever just won 10 rounds straight with ease, dominated him like the way Devin Haney did. Even Lomachenko struggled with Linares, right? But what's more impressive is that Devin Haney got hurt and battled adversity, and even he landed more punches on Linares in the 11th round than Linares landed on him. So he battled adversity.
Yeah.
And like I said, experience is priceless. And I truly believe Jojo Diaz stylistically is tougher for Devin Haney than Teofimo Lopez, because Jojo Diaz is a fighter who's really good in the inside. He could catch and shoot pretty well. And he an Olympian. Just like Teofimo Lopez, he got a lot of boxing skills. So I truly believe stylistically, Jojo will give Devin Haney more trouble than Teofimo, because Teofimo is a fighter who relies on counters. You know, he a fighter who he has skills, but stylistically, Devin Haney could beat him with his jab alone, because Teo I could see him easily get frustrated at fighting Devin Haney, just like he did with Nakatani. Nakatani gave Teofimo Lopez trouble just because he was tall and rangy. So imagine what Devin Haney gonna do. Yeah. Remember what Teofimo Lopez said post the Nakatani fight? He said, "I will never fight tall fighters." Don't worry, fans. Don't worry.
And that's
I'm not. Yeah, he said this. He said, "Don't worry, fans. This is never gonna happen again, because I'm not gonna fight tall fighters ever again." Like, hello? You know, you don't decide who
I
you
lost
fight.
Respect to him at that moment. Yeah, I lost respect at that moment when he said that, and that let me know his type of character. He doesn't like to lose, and he's gonna try to win, even if it's by like taking the easy opponent. You know what I mean? Something that stylistically matches up good for him versus a challenge. Yes, he didn't like that challenge with Nakatani.
Yeah, and then let me just respond to this fan real quick. Hey, my man right here, he said, I have never heard of Loma ducking Haney. Relax. So how does Devin Haney have Lomachenko belt right now? Why is Devin Haney the WBC champion of the world? Devin Haney was his mandatory. He was the interim champion. So if Loma never avoided Devin Haney, then how did Devin Haney end up with his belt? Exactly, because he vacated it in order to duck Devin Haney, since he had to fight his mandatory in 6 months time span, since he fought for a vacant title against Luke Campbell. These are the facts. So
I
yes,
think
sir.
even,
And
I think even old media said that Mama vacated the title
yeah, I mean,
to Devin. I don't know why that
it's factual information. It's factual information. It's not up for debate. But
exactly.
like I said before, it's a fight that now the fight we want to see is Teofimo Lopez versus Devin Haney next, if they both are successful. That being said, what is your prediction? You know, before I'll pick up the next caller, what's your prediction this weekend?
Okay.
Composers versus Teofimo Lopez.
I'm hoping Cambosos can give him a good fight. From what I watched from Cambosos, like people say about him, he's strong. He likes to, trade a lot in the inside. I think he's gonna have to be smart though. You know what I mean? I think people giving Teofimo a little too much credit as far as his power. You know, you don't knock out every single body. You know what I mean? Not just for anybody. So if Cambosos don't get knocked out, I think he could give Teofimo some trouble. That's if he don't get knocked out. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Because I haven't watched enough of his fights to, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, it was great talking with you, my brother. And please
You
call
too,
back.
man.
Call again. Whenever you get a chance. All right.
Definitely. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the love and support. Click on that like button. And how you doing, Aki? Who this is and where you calling from?
What's going on, Aki? This is Joey from South Florida.
Joey, my man, just called in. Pleasure having you back on the show. Let me go ahead and read the super chat real quick. My man said, just a little thanks for the boxing commentary. Oh man, I appreciate the love and support. Big Sneed 76. Like I said before, I appreciate every single person that's tuning in. Go ahead and click that like button. It's free. We should have at least 1,000 likes. Don't hate, appreciate. But I definitely appreciate you, my brother, for the super chat. And that being said, Joey, what is going on with you? Man, hold on. I don't even know where to start with you. So where do you where do you want to start? Like set the tone. Where you want to start?
I mean, I'm between. We could start with like Tio, or we could start with Crawford. I'm gonna let you pick this one.
Let's start with Tio. Let's start with Tio. I mean, this your guy, right? This your guy. And
let me just make this very clear to everybody.
Yeah, you told me how to. Yeah. You told me leading up to this fight. You leading up to this year. You kept saying, "Listen, if he don't fight Devin Haney after Composers, then I'm gonna come on the show and call him out for ducking Devin Haney." Right now, what's your take on what's happening?
Right. Oh my God. I'm gonna just say this straight up, man. I've never been so confused from a fighter. Like, and for anybody wondering, like, how this all started between Tio and Devin, you can honestly blame Tio for this, because it was Tio from jump. Like, if Tio didn't think he needed to fight Devin Haney, Tio knows he needs to fight Devin for Undisputed. Let's cut the crap. He knows this. And you want to know why? He knew this before anybody, because when he was asked who does he want next, he said two things after he beat Loma. He said he could go up to 140 or he could fight Devin Haney. When his dad was asked at that press conference or the post conference, who would be the biggest fight for Teofimo Lopez in the future, he didn't say Tank. He didn't say Ryan. He didn't even say Shakur. He said Devin Haney. And he also, during that press conference, was well aware of the fact that Devin Haney was the reason for why he would not be called undisputed. He knew that that would be disputed. He knew that the same night he quote-unquote became the undisputed champion, quote-unquote. So, in reality, Teofimo already knows what's going on, which is why I thought he would fight Devin Haney in the first place, because he called Devin Haney out to make this fight happen. But then since then, he's contradicted himself. I'm not blind, and unlike you other fanboys out there, I can notice this crap and just take it in. It's sad to watch, but I can't deny what I'm seeing. I've talked to you about this, Zaki. I've seen it before, and I've said it numerous times. I said if Teo doesn't fight Devin Haney after Kambosos, he is without a doubt ducking him. That goes without saying. Like, come on. He recently said, he was called out in front of Devin Haney in front of thousands of people, and Teofimo looked like he accepted the challenge. Eddie Hearn came to him afterwards saying that he would pay for the fight. Teofimo shook his hand, making it seem like this fight was really going to happen. And then literally a few days ago, I'm hearing different energy from Teo and different energy from his dad. And for anybody wondering, if you really want to see Teofimo, look at the way he acts with Loma and Josh Taylor. It's consistent. This man never changes his energy with these fighters. So I know he's serious and honest when it comes to that. And look the way he talks about Devin Haney. He always flip-flops. Just pay attention. It's clear as day.
Yeah, the contradictions is there. Every other breath, he's saying something else. But I want to make it clear, Joey, I want you to inform the public, you are a Teofimo Lopez fan. It's not like you was never a fan of this guy, right? So I want you to make it clear, because Teofimo, he came out and said, F all the Devin Haney fans. If you want me to fight Devin Haney, F you too, or something crazy like that. I mean, don't quote me on it, but it was something around the lines, F Devin Haney fans, he don't like them. So you speaking as a Teofimo Lopez fan. I want you to inform the public on that.
I came on this show as a Teofimo Lopez fan. Anybody can, if anybody wants to go back, I came on this show as a Teofimo Lopez fan. Go back.
Yeah. I mean, yes, sir. I mean, they know it. We had debates on this topic, and you was defending Teofimo Lopez, and I told you I know what I'm seeing, because look, if it moves like a duck, if it sounds like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, then it's a duck. So I was a Teofimo Lopez too. He reminded me of Prince Nassim Hamed. Of course, I'm gonna be a fan when it came to his showboating, right? I was a fan, but I only could be a fan for so long. Respect is earned, not given. I could be a fan, but you're not gonna earn my respect. You gotta prove and fight to earn the respect. He did it with Loma, but it was the lies that kept coming one after another, right? At first, it was, I'm gonna fight Devin Haney next, like you said. Then he goes to Mike Tyson podcast and says, oh, I'm gonna fight Kambosos. Mike says, no. You need to fight Devin Haney next. It need to be next. And he says, I'm gonna see what I'm gonna do, because I want to fight Kambosos in Australia. He kept pushing the narrative that he want to fight Kambosos in Australia, who will turn down 60,000 fans, so on and so forth. Then months later, he want to vacate his title if Triller is going to force him to fight in Australia. Hello? You see the contradiction right there. But even before that, he told Devin Haney, I'm going to send you a contract. He did that on 3 different occasions. He did that before the Lomachenko fight, after the Lomachenko fight, and some other time. He kept telling Devin Haney on live, I'm going to send you a contract. Sign it. Don't duck. And then guess what? He never sent the contract to this day. To this day. We still waiting on it, right? To this day, we still waiting on the contract to arrive. So when I seen them signs, I said, man, doesn't this man know what he's doing to himself? We live in a digital age. Whatever you say will always be there. So that's why I always say, word to Dante, a microphone and a camera is the worst weapon in the world. And that's Teofimo Lopez's worst weapon, his worst nightmare. You know, he told Devin Haney on the zone, face to face, that fighting him is a dream. Well, it turned out to be a nightmare because apparently he continues to contradict himself every other breath. One day he gonna fight him next, man to man. He shakes Bill and Eddie Hearn. He tell him I'm gonna fight him next. Next day or next week, oh, I'm not fighting him next. He an email champion. He ain't fought nobody, even though he defended his title against Linares, and he's defending it today or next week against Jojo Diaz. Two top lightweights and fighters that have been avoided by the likes of Ryan, so on and so forth. So just to show he a proven champion, he even made Lomachenko vacate the title because he's so dangerous. I mean, last time I checked, Lennox Lewis wasn't an email champion. Lennox Lewis, he was an undisputed heavyweight champion, right? He made Riddick Bowe vacate the WBC belt when he was his mandatory. So is Lennox Lewis an email champion? We already know what time it is. The email champion is the one that emails the WBC for witness protection, for the NBF witness protection franchise. The email champion is the one that emails the WBC and requests not to fight instead of to fight. Devin Haney always petitioned to fight. Teofimo and Lomachenko, they petitioned not to fight, right? So I don't know what's going on. Like I said before, the fake over season continues. You know, the fake it season, I guess, of Teofimo Lopez. Fake it till you make it out of the Devin Haney fight. This is the saga. Like I said this on one of my on one of my videos like 8 months ago. I said that, you know, that Teofimo Lopez, you know, he's faking it till he makes it out of the Devin Haney fight. Literally the next day, Teofimo Lopez uses my same quote and flips it on Devin Haney on an interview. I said, man, this man is delusional, man. You know, I see what he's doing. He's just trolling. At this point, Teofimo Lopez is trolling. You know, so I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of Teofimo Lopez anymore.
My thing is, look, like I said to everybody, I've been called a Devin Haney fan recently. And I don't hate on Devin Haney, but I'm just saying, I have been a Teofimo fan way longer than I've been a fan of Devin Haney. And because I called out Teofimo on his BS, like the thing that I couldn't take any longer was when he went on ESPN and he was explaining how Devin Haney didn't really want to fight because he was scheduling a fight in November, and he claimed he was going to fight next in November when he was still scheduled to fight in October. I really looked at him. I'm like, does he really think we're stupid? Does he really expect us to believe that he's going to fight a month later against Devin Haney with no rest or anything like that? Like how? And the worst part about it is that Devin Haney came out that same day and said, "How am I going to fight in November when I don't even have an opponent scheduled next? I don't have an official opponent." So Teofimo it was a lie that made no sense making. He could have just been truthful, but he just lied, and it wasn't even a good one. It was a lie that literally was just so easy to call out. And then there were people who actually defended it. I can't believe it. Like, look, like I said before, I've been a fan of Teofimo for a while now. I've said on multiple occasions that I believe he's going to fight Devin Haney. But the difference is I'm not going to defend the lies and the contradictions. That's what separates fans from fanboys. That's what separates boxing fans from fans of just Teofimo alone. And I'll call out any fighter if I see that they're doing stuff that's suspect. And Teofimo, since the end of 2020, has been looking pretty suspect when it comes to fighting Devin Haney. When it came to Lomachenko, he was calling out Loma for years. He wanted to fight him. When it comes to Devin Haney, it's for 3 to 5 years. It's Devin Haney, he's gonna price himself out. He keeps talking about what if and future, like the future, like what about now? It's like Devin Haney says. He says everything but let's fight, and it's true. You can't deny it anymore. You can't. And I'm not going to officially say it now.
Yeah. But
I'm not going to officially say it now because I said.
Yeah, after the fight. But he already saying it now. That's the thing. He already beating you to it. Teofimo already beating you to it. He like, Man, he trying to have you say it before the fight because he the one that said it. You know what I'm saying? So, but just to follow up on the thing you said like a minute ago, which is he says, "Oh, Devin Haney gonna price himself out." But last time I checked, when he saw Eddie Hearn, he said, "I want 10 million." What does that look like? You made $1 million your last fight. In fact, he admitted he only made like 400, 500,000 or 600, something like that. And not even $1 million, but he wants 10 million to fight Devin Haney. I'm just showing you how he says something about Devin, but he goes out there and does it, right? So, just to follow up, like I said, you a boxing fan. You're not a fanboy. We dealing with a lot of fanboys, and a lot of fanboys, they want to defend their favorite ducks for ducking. But we're going to call a duck because we're going to call a spade. And all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, with that interview you was talking about with, I think it was Timothy Bradley, Andre Ward, and Teofimo Lopez on ESPN. I forgot who was fighting, Oscar Valdez. The same night he defended Oscar Valdez for cheating, which is another, highly suspect move. But he said on that night that, oh yeah, Devin Haney he don't want to fight because if he want to fight, he gonna wait for me. Wait for you? You ain't fought Teofimo. You ain't fought Composers to this day. He haven't fought Composers to this day, but he want Devin Haney to wait for him. You see what he's doing. You see what he continues to do. Like I said, he was trying to fool the public to believe, yeah, I'm gonna fight in October, but I'm gonna turn around and fight Devin Haney early November, on November 6th, the same week that Canelo is fighting. Like I said before, he is not fooling anybody, and we could straight. He used to tell logical lies. He used to tell a lie that would logically at least make sense. Recently, Teofimo Lopez is talking so much nonsense, he's not even being logical anymore. He don't even want to be logical because his lies racked up on him. The more you lie, the more you continue to lie. They were, like I said before, you got to continue to lie to cover up your previous lies, and eventually you're gonna run out of lies because you done contradicted yourself. And Teofimo Lopez is in that position. That's why he came out and straight up said, I ain't fighting Devin Haney next. I'm fighting Josh Taylor, this and that and the third. And keep in mind, Josh Taylor is not even available. Josh Taylor has an injury currently, and he has a mandatory after that he obligated to fight anyway. But, I do want to get your take on the Terence Crawford situation. Obviously, Terence Crawford, he told Keith Thurman that he willing to fight him, this and that and the third. But who do you think Terence Crawford should fight next? Oh, before that, what was your take on his performance?
In terms of his performance, I noticed a lot of people immediately either discredit or just say that Terence Crawford was unimpressive, which I don't really understand why. I think people weren't really paying attention. I like from the fact that Terence Crawford was immediately it was a high speed chess match between Crawford and Porter. I thought Porter did excellent, and I thought Crawford just turned up another gear. From the first few rounds, I thought Crawford was having issues struggling with Porter's explosiveness. But quickly he started to adjust to his overhands right and his quick movement by leading up with that check hook. Because Crawford's footwork is one of the best in the game. So and a lot of people would say he was getting hit a lot. When CompuBox tells you that Crawford was getting hit less against Sean Porter than any of the guys that Sean Porter beat previously. Like by the 10th round, Sean Porter had landed 70 punches on Terence Crawford when he landed over double that against fighters like Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, Ugas. I'm just saying. So I thought Crawford did well defensively. I thought Crawford's counterpunching was on point. I liked his footwork. I liked his jab. I thought he could have had a little better head movement, but in terms of, I think the best thing about it was his body work. I think he did something that a lot of people weren't able to do, which was slow down Sean Porter. Sean Porter's punch output was a lot lower than I've ever seen before. So it kind of shows you that Terrence Crawford really wore Sean Porter down until the 10th round, and that's all she wrote. So for the most part, I thought Crawford gave one hell of a performance.
Yeah, that was highly impressive.
It was a competitive fight, but
yeah, it was a good fight. Sean Porter always gives good fights, but like you said, he just you know, he's just special, and appreciate the super chat, Jose. You know, appreciate that, but you know, obviously, the person that's losing here, the only person that's losing is Bob Arum. It was classic when Crawford told Bob, "I'm out of here." You know, he told Bob, or he said it next to Bob. He said it next to Bob. Bob was sitting right there, and you could see Bob was just looking at Terrence Crawford like he was looking at Crawford, giving him flashbacks of Pretty Boy Floyd Mayweather. And Terrence said on stage, "Why would I re-sign with Top Rank? Why would I, you know, do a deal with Top Rank when they couldn't deliver the Errol Spence fight when I was with him? So how is he going to deliver the Errol Spence fight when I'm not even with him?" So obviously the smartest thing to do is cross the street and go there to PBC, either as a free agent, like Sean Porter is, Errol Spence, and everyone else, or get a big deal, a big contract. I don't even think he needed to do a contract. He just could work with them, right? At the end of the day, PBC has all the welterweights, so there's no point for him to go anywhere. If he's gonna go to the zone, he could do a one-off to fight Virgil Ortiz. That's gonna be a big money fight for him, a good fight. Get him out of the way. But I don't think Virgil will fight him. He don't sound interested at all as of late. And in fact, I don't even think I heard him react to the knockout. But what's your take on what Terrence Crawford should do next? Because Floyd Mayweather is interested in signing Terrence Crawford. He said that he would love to sign him. He's pound for pound number one. He always laid it out there for years. And he said, whenever he's free, whenever he becomes a free agent, I would love to work with him and sign him. What's your take on that? Who should should Crawford remain a free agent or sign with PBC, go to Floyd? What's your take on that?
I mean, to start off, whether Crawford should be free agent, I think that's the best route for him. He's 34 years old. Signing a long contract now just doesn't make any sense at his age. It just makes sense for him to just go fight by fight now and just pick on what platform he wants to fight on. So I think what would be best if he would just come on PBC, make a fight deal there, 2-fight deal to fight the best fighters there, go on the zone like you said, or even go back to Top Rank and make a fight with Josh Taylor if necessary. I think that makes more sense instead of just going strictly on PBC.
Yeah, I mean,
so I think that would be the best choice.
Yeah, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt if Terrence Crawford signs with the PBC because they do have all the welterweights and the junior middleweights as well. So he gonna have plenty of options like Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, Errol Spence, the winner of Jamel Charlo versus Castano, right? So that's a lot of legacy fights. I'm telling you right now, if Crawford could land these fights, like if he could fight Virgil Ortiz, knock him out, Errol Spence, Keith Thurman, and then fight the winner of Jamel and Castano, become undisputed there too. Oh my God, that's legacy. That's history. He's gonna be on the top 10, 20 of all time if he's able to get all of them wins impressively. So it ain't a bad idea. I you know, for the meantime, if he don't have, he need to stay active though, because he getting older. A lot of fighters were aging him out, so he need to stay active at least 2 fights a year. So he has to, if he can't get a Keith Thurman, an Errol Spence next, he has to fight a stay busy fight like a Virgil Ortiz. I think that's the best option next because he don't have an upcoming fight. He was acting like he want to fight Crawford, so let's see it. He an undefeated fighter with a huge fan base, so why not? But for man that, you know, I think Jose, my man, said Crawford can't stop the overhand right hand to save his life. That's the only reason Porter was hitting him with that punch. Well, I say to that is you got to understand Crawford. He was trying to counter over that right hand. He wanted Crawford to throw the overhand right so he could counter him with the left uppercut, and eventually that's how he knocked him out. So his game plan was to get Sean Porter to throw the overhand right in order to counter it with a left uppercut, and he tried it on a lot of occasions. So that's why he was, he obviously got hit with that punch, because Sean Porter was trying to counter Terrence Crawford jab every time he threw it. He was trying to work off Sean Porter, off Terrence Crawford's jab. So was Terrence Crawford. He was using the jab so he could counter Sean Porter coming in with the overhand right, and he succeeded eventually. So it's all about making adjustments in the sport of boxing. And what you were gonna say?
Oh, are you talking to me, Aki?
Yeah. I think you was gonna say something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I was saying, like, in terms of his next opponent, see, Ugas isn't available for Crawford to fight. That would have been his best option, if you ask me, to just get more leverage. But since he can't really get that fight, because Ugas is busy.
Yeah, Virgil's gonna be a big leverage. If he could, obviously Ugas is too busy with the whole situation with the WBA. I don't know why, but don't forget, you got Virgil Ortiz, who's a very hot prospect, the hottest golden boy prospect right now. I don't even say prospect contender. He's the ranked #1 on the WBO. So that's a huge fight, and he's gonna be able to leverage a lot against Errol if he's able to get that fight too.
Yeah, I mean, I recently heard he's been ordered in a title eliminator against David Avaneeson. I think that's the guy's name. I heard he was ordered. Like he was supposed to return, I think, in January in a title eliminator. I could be wrong.
Who?
Virgil Ortiz. I saw that on boxing.
Okay. So, I got you.
So I mean, if that actually comes to fruition, if that's the case, then I can understand why Ortiz can't make a fight with Crawford, especially if he's going after Errol Spence. Can't really blame the man for that. If he's trying to become a mandatory for Crawford and Spence, that gives him a lot of options. So, but that may mean that Ortiz may not be available. Josh Taylor isn't available because of February. He has a fight backed up to there. Really, the only fights that Crawford has available are Errol Spence, which I don't know if that fight will happen. That's through Crawford's estimated pay-per-views, and Keith Thurman, which part of me wants to see that fight. The other part of me doesn't, because Crawford, that's a fight where Crawford has a lot to lose and a lot of criticism to gain because of the fact that Keith Thurman is coming off of almost a 3-year layoff. So that's a fight where that Crawford is. I don't see him gaining much in beating Keith Thurman. I think Keith Thurman will build Crawford's name, and unlike Sean Porter, Keith Thurman will sell the fight. The thing about Crawford versus Porter is that fight was not selling well because these two were too cordial with each other. Tim Bradley made it clear these guys weren't selling a pay-per-view fight. Well, while with Keith Thurman, because he talks a lot of trash, he knows how to build a fight. So I think him with Crawford would be a bigger fight. I just don't know if that fight would give Crawford a lot of respect from the fans because of Keith Thurman's layoff.
Well, as long Keith Thurman gets a tune-up fight, and like I said, he ain't gonna fight him next anyway. He got to get a tune-up fight according to him. So if he look impressive, then you're gonna have to give Crawford credit for that fight, because Keith did beat Sean Porter and Danny Garcia. So he has those wins under his resume. So like you said, I agree with you. He does know how to sell a fight, and Bud needs somebody like that to bring the best out of him. I believe Errol will bring the best out of him when it comes to trash talk. More importantly, Keith will definitely bring the best out of him when it comes to trash talk. But the one losing here is Bob Arum, because he was talking about Crawford this, Crawford that, and now he's missing out on Crawford big time, because he prevented the Pacquiao fight from happening. He said, I didn't want Pacquiao to get hurt 5 years ago. Like, hello? Pacquiao was kicking ass 5 years later, beat Keith Thurman, right? Just to show you guys what Bob Arum's all about. I mean, Bob really missed out big time, because if Crawford, he landed the Pacquiao fight and he was able to stop Pacquiao, then he would have been able to get all of these fights because he would have been such the A side and such the guy who the man to be. He gonna be the man to be. So Bob Arum really messed him up, but at the end of the day, he was making a lot of money out of him, so he was happy anyway. But publicly, he want to trash him. Publicly, he want to say Terence Crawford wasn't selling; he was losing money on Crawford. Meanwhile, he didn't say that about Lomachenko, who couldn't sell any tickets. He didn't say that about Tyson Fury, who couldn't sell tickets against Wallen and Tom Schwartz, where he sold like 3,000 tickets. But Crawford was selling out stadiums. And Crawford always did the best numbers gate-wise and television-wise on ESPN. So if you're losing on Terence Crawford, that means you're losing even worse on everybody. But you call out Terence Crawford, we all know what time it is. He wasn't losing on Terence Crawford. He was making banks off Crawford. And he was happy with that. But at the same time, since Crawford was leaving, he had to trash Crawford for the meantime, you know, in the process. So, like I said, though, at the end of the day, factually speaking, Terence Crawford is top 5, one of the most popular fighters in the United States. And he like on the top of the list, on the top of the list, meaning like top 3 of the list. So just to show you guys how popular Terence Crawford is, that being said, it was great talking with you. Let me go ahead and pick up the last caller. Anything else you have to say? Or let me ask you. No, let's leave with this. I want you to leave us with this right here before I pick up the next caller. Obviously, like me and you talked about, Crawford did not give up his belt, right? When Crawford had a tough mandatory, you know. Hold on, let me remove this real quick. When Terence Crawford had a tough mandatory, a dangerous one, a deadly one, in Sean Porter, who has the best resume in boxing, Terence Crawford did not vacate his belt the way other fighters did, like Canelo Alvarez when he had a tough mandatory in Charlo. So, who is boxing pound for pound number 1 officially after that performance?
I said as soon as after that performance, it's Terence Crawford all the way. He's number 1 pound for pound, and he's number 1 welterweight. I don't think he necessarily has a better resume than Spence, because him and Spence have fought similar fighters, but he has a better performance against the guys, against Spence's best wins. So that makes up for it. And I think the world's starting to recognize that as he was moved up in ranks on Ring Magazine, ESPN, and a lot of other ranking systems as well. Of course, pound for pound, Canelo rules supreme on that. I'm not going to go into that. We all know what time it is when it comes to Canelo. So that's another story for another day.
Yes, sir. And
yeah, absolutely. Terence Crawford is proven it.
Yeah, and like I said before, at the end of the day, a real champion, if you believe you're the best in the world, you're not going to give up your title. That's what fake champions do. A real champion will defend his title against the toughest fights who the public wants to see him against. And that's what Terence Crawford did. And when it comes to the resume wise, yeah, I agree. But at the end of the day, well, I don't agree. My bad. I disagree. I think Crawford has a better resume overall. You know, if you factor in him beating Gamboa, 2 gold medalists, becoming undisputed, being a 3-time world champion in 3 different divisions.
I meant at welterweight.
Oh, welterweight. Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah. But like you pointed out, at welterweight, Crawford he beat Jeff Horn, who beat Pacquiao, beat Benavidez, knocked him out, knocked out everyone. You know, he beat Kell Brook and Sean Porter better than Errol Spence did. And those were his best 2 names on his resume. So Crawford is the man to beat at the welterweight division. He's the number 1 ranked. If Errol is the big fish, Terence Crawford is the big shark at the moment in time. So let me respond to my man real quick. Hold on. AKHi, where is the interview posted where Teofimo Lopez admitted that he is Devin Haney mandatory and that he would mandate the fight with Haney? I got it up on my channel. He admitted that he was Devin Haney mandatory, and he said that he's going to petition to request from the WBC to make the fight happen next. And then, like me and you talked about, Joey, few months later, he want to tell Devin Haney, if you want to fight us, then petition to the WBC. Like, hello, is anybody home? That
Yeah, and now
contradicted
I'm a
your previous
Teofimo
statement.
hater.
Yeah, that contradicted your previous
And
statement,
now
Tio.
and now I'm a hater on Teofimo. Everybody now thinks when I go on other channels and expose the contradictions, people say, "Oh, you're hating on Teofimo." I'm like, I'm not hating on Teofimo. I'm just pointing out the lies. Pointing out lies is hate now. It's not as if I'm spreading lies. I'm pointing them out from Teofimo directly, and you guys are saying I'm hating on him. Would you rather I just be quiet and let him do this? This ain't right. This ain't making boxing better. The best got to fight the best. He said he was going to fight Devin Haney. He doesn't look like he's going to fight Devin Haney. What is it as a fan? I'm a boxing fan. I want to see the fight. I'm not the type of where Tio can just fight anybody from nowhere and I'll just support it like you Canelo Alvarez fan. I can't do it. I need to see him fight the best, and it's that simple.
And we not are, the truth hurt. Obviously, they speaking emotionally, we speaking factually, but at the end of the day, or at least tonight, we not saying these things. Hello? We not saying these things. Teofimo Lopez is saying these things. He's saying on one interview, I'm the mandatory. I could mandate Devin Haney. He said I could petition to the WBC to fight Devin Haney next by becoming Devin Haney mandatory, then fighting him next. He pretty much admitted that he's not the WBC champion. He's not undisputed. Then a few months later, he says, oh, Devin Haney has to do that. After I posted my video exposing him for doing so. You see, like I said before, we're not saying these things. If you're going to be mad at somebody, be mad at Tio for lying to the public every other breath. This is not what I said. This is not what you said. This is what Teofimo Lopez said. This is not he say, she said, he say, she. This is what Teofimo Lopez said out of his own mouth. We telling you guys two contradictions coming from Teofimo Lopez out of his own mouth. So it's not up for debate. That being said, man, great talking with you, Joey. Let me go ahead and pick up the last caller of the day. I appreciate talking with you. All right.
Likewise, man. Take it easy, Aki.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How you doing, Aki? Who this is and where you calling from? Hold on. Hello? Hello? Hey, 443. You're the last caller of the day. Hello?
Okay, my man. Can you hear me?
Okay, okay. Yeah. I was trying to make sure. I'm like, I thought I was tripping for a minute. Okay, hold on. I got you. Give me a second though. I gotta make sure I put this up.
Okay.
Aki,
all right.
Let me read the super chat one more time because I don't know if I showed it on the screen. Let me read it one more time. Marcos, I appreciate the love and support. My man said, Aki, where is the interview posted where Teofimo Lopez admitted that he is Devin Haney's mandatory and that he would mandate the fight with Devin Haney? Question mark. Like I said, I'm gonna leave it in the comment section below. So I appreciate you for pointing that out and reminding me of another contradiction by Teofimo Lopez, who is the king of cap as we speak. That being said, how you doing, Aki? Who this is and where you calling from?
Good, bro. I'm calling from DC.
DC. So let's start it off with this, just to, get, before we dive into the next topic. What's your take on Teofimo Lopez shaking Bill and Eddie Hearn hand on camera, giving his word, man to man, that he's gonna fight Devin Haney next for undisputed? Now, all of a sudden, he's saying he changed his mind. He moving up. And forget about the promises he made to Mike Tyson and everyone else. Forget about his word. He not fighting Devin Haney next.
Well, first and foremost, when they said that, it was like doing an interview like after a fight or something, I believe. And so when you're on camera and somebody puts you right on the spot, you're gonna have to say something. So that's what he did. He said something, knowing he was lying, knowing he had no intentions of facing Devin Haney. So And his father was right there. His father does more talking sometimes than he do. So they both jump out there and say this and that, say this and that. But in reality, as we can see, I mean, clear as day, they do not want no part of Devin Haney.
Now, there's rumors. I'm gonna say rumors because there's rumors that say Teofimo is planning on intentionally missing weight in order to relinquish his titles. That way, he thinks indirectly is gonna take the load off of him when it comes to fight Devin Haney. When it comes to fighting Devin Haney next for Undisputed, he thinks if he does that, then maybe he's not gonna be forced to fight Devin Haney next. What's your thoughts on them rumors?
That right there in itself is, like you mentioned earlier, he's trying to follow the Canelo duck print. Moving to 140, you can't run because Devin Haney can come up to 142. Exactly. And if he comes up to 140, where you gonna go? You gonna go to 147? I mean, he can't keep running. So
you can run, but
it makes no sense to keep running high because just like he move up in weight, Devin Haney can move up in weight. So, but and the thing is, let him. Okay, let's say he run up and move up. You move to 140. There's a lot of problems at 140 too. You got Josh Taylor still hanging around at 140, I believe. So he's not going to walk through 140, and he definitely ain't going through 147. So he might as well stay where he at, take that heat, take that L, and just move on. And you got Shakur Stevenson and these guys hiring all their asses. So you can run, but you can't hide. That's simple. It's simple. And when he moved up to 140, and when Devin snatched up them belts at 135, and then he moved to 140, he will have nowhere to. The public will have to demand that fight. I mean, it's going to come to a point where he's going to be forced to take that fight, and when he take that fight, he's going to get beat. It's just that simple. That's why he's running.
And it's getting to that point now. Tio is fighting Kambosos this weekend. What's your prediction on that fight? Tio came out and said, like, I'm seeing reports. It's shocking me. I don't even know what's going on anymore. There's reports that say Teofimo Lopez is claiming he's injured coming into the fight. Like, what's going on? Is he making excuses ahead of time? What's your thoughts on them, news, on that news?
Now, it's very rare for a fighter, for a boxer to admit any injuries before a fight. It's rare you hear that. So he already setting the table for the excuse when he gets beat. I honestly think he could beat Kambosos, but Kambosos is a little dog too. So if he can take the fight into the deep round, in the late round, he could probably pull out a win, split decision, or a unanimous decision. But Tio do have some power. You can't deny that. So he do get that puncher's chance. But I'm not a fan of Tio, so I want to see him lose. I want Kambosos to beat his ass, but he do have the skills to beat Kambosos. So my prediction is Tio will get the win by KO because Kambosos is going to be coming forward. But if Kambosos comes forward intelligently, he could make it an interesting fight.
Look, I believe Teofimo Lopez is a level above Kambosos with his skill. I mean, obviously, Teofimo got skills, and he is explosive, and he has very sharp counters, in my opinion. So, I'm picking Teofimo Lopez to win, obviously, because of his skills. He's too explosive and throws devastating counters, which going to trouble Kambosos. One thing I like about Kambosos is his mindset. He seemed to be determined. He's not intimidated by the moment. He's very confident, and a confident man is a dangerous man, right? So he sees this man capping all day, every day, so that gives him even more confidence. So you never know. Anything can happen in the sport of boxing. I don't believe Tio gonna fight Devin Haney next. So I'm rooting for Kambosos, but I truly believe Tio gonna win. However, it's all about how Kambosos is going to take his power. If Kambosos is able to take Teofimo Lopez power, then it's going to be a long night for Teofimo Lopez. You know, if Teofimo Lopez don't get Kambosos out of there in the early rounds, like, you know, if he's not capable of doing so, then in the later rounds, I could see Kambosos troubling Teofimo Lopez. One thing about Teofimo Lopez that I notice about his style, he has very sharp counters. He's a counter puncher. So if you could get past that one counter, because all he does is throw one counter. He baits you in, and throws that one counter, the uppercut, a hook, whatever it may be. If you make him miss with that one counter, then he's a little more vulnerable. He's there to be hit, so on and so forth. So it'd be smart on Kambosos' behalf to get Teofimo Lopez to react and make him miss with his counter, then work off of that. Like I said before, if Kambosos is able to survive the early rounds, then he could take it to him in the later rounds, especially in the inside, where I don't think Teo is as gamed, and he's going to be able to give him a lot of trouble, give him hell inside of that ring. So we shall see. One thing, like I said before, I like about Kambosos is his attitude, his confidence. He's not intimidated by the moment. So that could lead up somewhere, you know. So we shall see. What's your take on that?
I agree. I know we're supposed to be debating, but I agree. Kambosos looked very confident during that press conference, and it seemed like they was towards the end of it when they was getting face to face. They was really holding him back, like he really wanted to fight. You know what I mean? So I think he really believed he can beat Teofimo. So and you know, like you said, a confident man is a dangerous man. So it's going to be an interesting fight. I'm looking forward to it. I really hope Teo lose. I want to see him get beat. So I hope to go into the later rounds. So it'll give Kambosos a chance to get some good shots off and possibly pull off the win too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
For sure. Me too. I can't wait. And also, you know, like I said, Teo is a fighter who depends only on one counter, and after that, if he misses, it could get a little dangerous for him. You know, so I think that's where Kambosos could capitalize. But at the end of the day, I want to point out, Split Decision is a boxing debate / talk show. So yeah, I really want the smoke with all of the decafs, but you already know, with all of my AKHis, we talk boxing because the truth is universal. But hey, there's another fight that's a great fight. Fulton versus Figueroa. Who you got in that fight? It's going on the same day.
Man, that's a 50-50 fight. I would definitely, I don't know. I would have to lean towards Figueroa, maybe. Only because I haven't seen a lot of Fulton. I only seen Fulton fight like 3 or 4 times. Yeah. And I've seen Figueroa fight. I've seen him fight more. So I would have to lean on his side just because of that. But that's a 50-50 fight, man.
Right. Well, I completely disagree with you there. I think Fulton will completely dominate Figueroa in the inside and the outside. I truly believe Fulton is a very special talent. I think he's one of the best at bantamweight, and him and the Beast is going to be the final fight. And hopefully after that, Inoue will move up in weight and fight the undisputed champion there if he really want to make history. I doubt he will, but I'm just saying, I truly believe Fulton will completely dominate and school Figueroa, possibly even stop him, because look, at this level, it's all about defense. You know, everybody got heart, right. Everybody got a dog in them, everybody got skills to a certain level. At the end of the day, or at least the night, it's all about your defense, your skills. If the more you get hit, there's a higher probability that you're gonna lose. So I truly believe Fulton will completely walk over this guy. It's gonna be a war at some point, but he gonna get the best of him at all times. All the exchanges, I could see Fulton getting the best of Figueroa when it does heat up during the fight. Any last thoughts on that? And go ahead and take us out, because it's gonna be the last comment on the show.
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to that fight. It's gonna be a hell of a fight. And like I said, I haven't seen too many important fights. So you being you know more than I do on that division. So, but like I've seen Figueroa fight a couple times. I like what I've seen, and I'm just going off of that. Because I haven't seen too many important fights.
Yeah, he's a good
But
fighter. He's a good fighter. Ain't no doubt about it. I'm just saying, I think Fulton is that good.
It's gonna be. When I looked at the highlights on Fulton the other day, I'm like, okay, yeah, that's gonna be a good fight. And I was like, damn, they're on the same day, so I gotta set some stuff so I can start catch all the fights.
Man, I hate
I don't
when
know
they
how
be
I'm
doing
doing. I
that.
hope they won't.
Man, I hate when they be doing that.
Yeah,
They
it's
should have put
crazy.
it on a Sunday, one on a Saturday, one on a Friday. I mean, man, we don't got 2 TV screens. We don't. What's going on, man? They got to work on that in the sport of boxing, because we be having no fights for like a whole couple months, like early during the year, and then in the later year, during the later of the later that year, we will have all of these fights on the same week, and we got to pick and choose what fight we're going to watch. I mean, they got to work on that in the sport of boxing, because that don't happen in the NBA like that. Like I said, everything is structured, so they should at least structure boxing where it shouldn't be competition on the same night. It should be on different days, so we can at least watch the fights. But that being said, great talking with you, my brother, and we shall see what happens. Like I said, we shall see if Figueroa gonna bring out the best of out of Fulton, and likewise, and vice versa. So that being said, appreciate you, and I'm gonna talk to you next time. All right.
All right, bro. Appreciate you too, man. Keep up the good work, man.
All right, peace. Take care. So to all of the fans that's tuning in, subscribe below and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of AKHi TV. New media is all about the whole absolute truth, and AKHi always put it together like puzzle. I appreciate everyone for tuning in, and I'm on to the next one.